Good afternoon. Welcome to the 13th Annual Celebration of Affordable Housing. Thank you, HDC membership, local and elected officials, supporters, and friends for joining us today under this one virtual roof. We would like to open this convening by recognizing that we are on the unceded ancestral land of the Coast Salish peoples, the traditional home of all tribes and bands within the Duwamish, Suquamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. We also acknowledge yesterday's verdict in the murder of George Floyd as a step of accountability. In doing so, we recognize the work of generations of justice seekers who came before us. And in doing so, we recognize the work that still lies ahead. We continue to seek justice for all people, justice in all forms, including housing justice. And today, we honor all of your efforts toward increasing sustainable, healthy, affordable housing options for everyone in Seattle and King County. My name is Stephanie Velasco, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors for the Housing Development Consortium. Before I was a board member, though, one of my first real jobs in Seattle was working on the small but always mighty HDC staff from 2012 to 2014. HDC brings together the smartest, most passionate folks working in the Seattle-King County affordable housing world. And because of that, I have met many of my dearest colleagues and collaborators through this organization. And so today, I'm honored to be your host and MC for the program. Last year, on the eve of what would have been our 12th annual celebration, we made the decision to cancel our event. Over the past year, every single one of us has experienced the overwhelming enormity of this pandemic in our own personal ways. And together, we've witnessed its ramifications on the individuals we serve and the homes and communities that we build. Although we are optimistic that we're closer to the other side of this pandemic now, today we come together virtually. And for this next hour, we are going to take a beat to celebrate our wins, and then dig deep for that extra well of collective energy we all share to keep the movement moving. So now we have some housekeeping to take care of. First of all, congratulations, you've made it to this platform. Second, please look in the event description below for a link to access live captioning if you need it. We also have folks who are working behind the scenes right now on a live chat feature, but I've been told that you can go to YouTube and use that chat functionality. Finally, if you have any technical issues during the program, please email HDC staff member Emma at emma@housingconsortium.org, and she will be available to assist you. Finally, the reason we're here, to celebrate the work of HDC members and show our appreciation for the organization that houses us all under one roof. Later in the program, you'll hear from two members that will invite you to invest in this important work. Now, please welcome our first speaker, the HDC Board President, Brian Lloyd. Brian is one of those people who has been around HDC for a while. He is in his 7th year on the board now, and he first got involved with HDC, I am told, in 1989. I wasn't around then, but that is what I've been told. He's now doing his 2nd tour as president. He loved it so much the first time around that we are letting him have another go. Brian's day job is as the Vice President of Beacon Development Group. Take it away, Brian.
Thank you, Stephanie. Well, hello, everyone. It's great to be here with you today. Thank you for joining us. And Stephanie, special thanks to you for coming out of maternity reserve to lead our celebration today. That's exactly the kind of dedication I love seeing from our HDC team. Let me also acknowledge the rest of our team. There's the board members out there in video land, and our amazing HDC staff, Marty, Dan, Lauren, Patience, Mallory, Nathan, Emma, and Bambi. I see you all, and we see the great work that you're doing every day. So board and staff, please stand up. Seriously, stand up. Come on, stand up. And audience, let's give them a hand. For real, come on. Please clap. You guys are doing great work, board and staff. Thank you so much. It is a very busy time at HDC these days. There is the regular work of fighting for pro-housing policies and resources in the midst of a housing crisis, all wrapped up inside of a pandemic. Then there's also the fact that our board is working on a strategic plan for 2022 to 2025. We are scheduled to complete that plan in October of this year. In fact, you should have received an email blast showing our progress so far with a stakeholder analysis and a new proposed value statement. So please look for that. And if that weren't enough already, we are also planning an executive director transition. Our fantastic leader, Marty Koistra, has decided that there are other adventures in life that he wants to pursue besides being the leader of this merry band of pranksters. So we are going to have to figure out how to fill those shoes and throw an epic going away party at the end of this year. Now, a word from our sponsors. First, we have JP Morgan Chase, our presenting sponsor. Thank you for your ongoing support of the work of HDC in this community. 3 years running at this sponsorship level. Thank you. And our leadership level sponsor, Wright Runstad and Company. Thank you, Wright Runstad, for your partnership and for helping make Seattle and King County a better place. And our champion sponsors, Amazon, BECU, Heritage Bank, Microsoft, and Vulcan. Thank you all. And lastly, there are 71 other sponsor organizations who are supporting this event today. I see a lot of familiar names, a lot of friends and partners and colleagues are represented here, and we are so grateful for your generosity. It's critical now as we seek to create more housing opportunity and more housing stability for those who are struggling in Seattle and King County. Thank you very much. Back to you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Brian. And a big thank you to our table team captains for leading the charge of bringing others under this one roof. We know much has happened since the last time we gathered for this event. We entered a pandemic that we're still enduring. The movement for racial justice has taken on new life. We have national leadership that has our first woman and person of color as vice president in the United States. Here to tell us more about the year that was and what lies ahead is Patience MALABA, HDC's Director of Government Relations and Policy. Welcome, Patience.
Thank you, Stephanie, and hello, everyone. As we've settled into this new year, I'm sure many of you, like me, are processing all we experienced in 2020. We faced a global pandemic that has tested us in many ways never imagined. We confronted racial injustice that has for far too long been ignored in our country. We witnessed a heartbreaking attack on the US Capitol. Race, equity, and inclusion are core values that HDC embraces with intention. Every day, we strive to build diverse, equitable, and affordable communities of opportunity. This past year, we worked in North King County to deepen sub-regional collaboration and partnership. We led municipal assessments and hosted sub-regional public workshops on affordable housing. We conducted a landscape analysis and continued engagement with the cities of Bothell, Duval, Lake Forest Park, North Bend, Snoqualmie, Shoreline, and Woodinville. We're grateful to the leadership and work of our staff, MALLORY, ABBEMA, and Celia from NUSA, who have led this work with firm commitment. As cities in East King County anticipate rapid growth, our members came together to launch the East Side Affordable Housing Convening. Together, this new network is creating a unified voice of advocacy for affordable housing needs for those with the lowest income. Alongside that work, we also launched the East Side Housing Roundtable, a broad and diverse coalition of business, nonprofit, and for-profit developers forming a vision for affordable housing across the income spectrum. All this work coordinated by the transitioning King County for Everyone, formerly Seattle for Everyone, and we continue to be grateful for their partnership. Seattle for Everyone, a coalition of unlikely allies who drove the engagement and coordination of the Housing Roundtable. And thank you, Brady Nostrom, for all your work on this. Together, we advocated loudly with huge wins for our sector and our champion elected officials. We stood firm and advocated amid the Washington state stay-at-home order that affordable housing is an essential service. We successfully advocated for the exemption of affordable housing from administrative design review in the city of Seattle. We gathered with coalition allies and passed Jumpstart Seattle, the first ever payroll tax in our state, to generate more than $200 million for investments in housing and services. At the regional level, we advocated for what may be the highest investments in addressing chronic homelessness and won through the King County Health Through Housing initiative. We also stood with renters and successfully supported a just cause eviction ordinance in the city of Auburn. And since the onset of the year, we've continued advocacy at the state level and have seen historic wins with the adoption of the Just Cause Eviction, which we are grateful to have partnered with the Washington Low Income Housing Alliance with their leadership in passing the first ever Just Cause Eviction ordinance in our state. Our collective voices made waves for affordable housing for generations to come. 2020 was also another remarkable year for member engagement and participation in HDC programming. Our affinity groups, special task forces, learner lunches, and of course, happy hours are the lifeblood of how we deepen the impact of our broad network. Thank you to each of you, our members and member service staff, Lauren Tenney, for a great year of listening and convening despite the challenges of 2020. We also saw the growing of future leaders of the movement that continues through the HDC Leadership Development Initiative. During this past year, another 15 emerging leaders have actively engaged in our virtual program. Thank you to Bank of America for your ongoing support for this beloved program. We also have several other efforts that recognize the power of multi-sectoral approaches. HDC and our membership are on the cutting edge of innovation in efficient development and design and construction. We've chosen not to pit the affordable housing crisis and the environmental crisis against each other. But we've come together to aim to create healthy homes, preserve the environment, produce durable buildings, and balance first cost in a way that doesn't minimize overall units produced through the work of our exemplary building task force, our off-site construction, and our cost analysis work group. Our small but mighty organization continued to gain recognition. We were awarded the 2020 Friend of Housing Award and the AIA Allied Partners Award. Thanks to and because of members like all of you. The challenges in front of us are as immense as the transformative opportunity and potential of this moment. As we look forward to the possibilities of this new decade, we're always grateful to the many individuals who support us, to the businesses, the organizations, and foundations that support our systems change work. We're humbled by this vote of confidence and will continue to do all we can to steward these resources effectively. We are firm in our belief that a more equitable, accessible, and affordable complete community of opportunity for all is possible and necessary. even as we know that currently more than 200,000 of our neighbors are struggling to pay their rent in our state, in Washington. And we know that this need has been exacerbated and a lot more needs to be done. We're honored that we get to do this work with you and we get to celebrate together. Thank you.
Thank you, Patience. Before we continue with the program, I have one quick note to share. If you'd like to chat with your fellow attendees, then you can click on the YouTube logo in the lower right-hand corner, but don't forget to keep the Give Butter page open and easily accessible for later in the program. You're also welcome to stay right where you are and just keep enjoying the program as you are right now. So thanks to Patience, we just heard about the many wins that you, HDC members, supporters, and friends made possible this past year. However, we know that the need for affordable housing has never been greater. Let's now meet Vanessa Tran. A recent Seattle Times op-ed included a short but vivid quote. Living with the pandemic has been both exhausting and inspiring. That quote embodies our first storyteller, Vanessa Tran. Vanessa will give us a glimpse of the delicate balance in her everyday life. As a master of multitasking, she took the bar exam while 8 months pregnant, brought her newborn to her swearing-in ceremony, and started her dream job just a few months after becoming a new mom. As a new parent myself, kudos to you, Vanessa. Massive props. Vanessa is a graduate of HDC's 2016 Leadership Development Program and has participated in the development and preservation of over 200 affordable housing communities in Washington, California, and Oregon over the past 15 years. She represents exactly what we all gather to celebrate every year at HDC's annual event, and I think her story will resonate with each and every person watching today. And now, here's Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa Tran, and I'm an attorney at Cantor Taylor. In my little corner of the affordable housing world, I represent housing developers as they prepare to close on financing for construction or rehabilitation of affordable housing developments. I review and negotiate loan and equity documents. I draft real estate documents, provide general advice to clients, and I coordinate efforts to get deals closed. This may not sound exciting to some, especially to my 3-year-old, but I cannot think of anything more meaningful than this work. I've been an attorney for 6 years, but my journey in affordable housing started long before my days at Cantor Taylor. In 2006, I was contemplating a career shift when my work as a planner just didn't seem to bring the kind of meaningful impact that I wanted to have on communities. My soul searching or Google searching led me to a job posting on Craigslist for a nonprofit called Bridge Housing. I hadn't heard of Bridge before, but apparently they developed and owned lots of affordable housing, and that sounded nice. As soon as I joined Bridge, I found my home in the affordable housing world, and I knew that I would work in affordable housing for the rest of my life. I was creating housing for teachers, for firefighters, for Katrina survivors. And this was really the most important type of development work I could imagine. After 5 years of running numbers, responding to RFPs, and completing funding applications, I knew something was off when I became enthralled by a set of loan documents. And that's when I knew it was time to go to law school. I hung up my developer hat, but clung to the notion that housing would be my life's work. During law school, I was a newcomer to Washington, and I wanted to plant roots in the housing community here. My friends at Bridge said, "You should definitely talk to Mark Cantor." So I did. And Mark said, "You should definitely talk to Harry Hoffman." So I did. I talked to lots of people that first year, and I ended up spending a summer at Lehigh. I spent that summer working on funding applications for the Julia Apartments, and the highlight for me was visiting the urban rest stop and seeing the homeless community here in Seattle. It was the perfect reminder that we have so much work to do. My time at Lehigh grounded me in terms of why I was in school and that affordable housing was still my calling. I joined Cantor Taylor in 2015 as a baby attorney with a baby. And these two roles have been so intertwined and have given me such a special place in the housing world. Just over a year ago, in my pre-pandemic life, I would ride the bus with my two boys every morning. We would get off in front of the Union Gospel Mission and walk a few blocks to Jose Marti at Hirabayashi Place, where they went to school. Stepping into the doors of Jose Marti at Hirabayashi Place, I would be reminded each day of the importance of partnerships like the one between El Centro and Interim. Within those walls, Interim owns and operates 96 units of affordable housing for families and individuals, and El Centro operates a childcare center. In this intersection of housing and childcare, hope truly lives and thrives. Within those walls, my sons got to know everyday heroes like Larry Gossett and Estela Ortega. They became friends with kids who lived upstairs and kids whose parents work at Plymouth Housing and SMR Architects. Within those walls, my sons learned the meaning of community. I would head to the office each day inspired to make the next Hirabayashi Place, the next affordable housing community where housing could intersect with other critical aspects of life, where hope could live and thrive. Flash forward a year, and we're no longer walking into the loving doors of Jose Marti at Hirabayashi Place each day. We are living, working, and schooling out of our townhome 24/7. In pandemic life, I have become mom, teacher, and cook by day, and attorney by night. After the dishes are washed and the boys are asleep, I gather every ounce of energy I have and I turn to my beloved documents. These documents are my way of keeping hope alive and my way of fighting the injustices we are facing. If drafting a purchase and sale agreement or negotiating a construction contract can somehow lead to more affordable housing in Seattle, then count me in. I will do whatever it takes to keep making more Hirabayashi Places. And now that we've been home together for more than a year, no one knows this more than my family. A few months ago, my 3-year-old woke up in the middle of the night and he found me drafting condo documents. He became hysterical and he asked me over and over, "Why do you have to work?" And out of all the answers I could have given him, I just said, "Mama has to work so people can have a place to live." Isn't that true for so many of us? If we are feeling stretched right now by the changes and challenges that have been brought on by pandemic life, think about those who we serve and how much our work matters. The next Hirabayashi Place isn't going to happen if I stop or if you stop. HDC reminds us today that we are under one roof. We are a community with a shared goal of making housing happen. Whether we are attorneys, architects, property managers, contractors, or lenders, housing can't happen without each of us. Remember what brings you to this work, what grounds you in this work, and please continue doing this work.
Thank you, Vanessa. Your words are so important and a great reminder about why we choose to do this work. We've shaped this celebration today around the people and stories like yours that will help us all reflect on what brings us to this work and, like you said, what grounds us in this work so that we can keep doing it together in hope. And next, we've come to the awards section of our program. In addition to celebrating our collective work, our celebration takes the time to recognize those organizations and individuals who have been outstanding champions of HDC's mission and have made an important impact in the community and affordable housing sector. So don't go away. You won't want to miss acknowledging the work of fellow HDC members this past year. Take it away, Doug.
Hello, my name is Douglas Ito, Principal at SMR Architects and former Board President of the Housing Development Consortium. I am here today to present the HDC Board of Directors Award. The Board of Directors Award is given to an individual or organization that exemplifies leadership in the affordable housing sector. The 2021 awardee served on the board from 2008 to 2016, 2 years as board president, on numerous HDC committees, as well as volunteering at HopeLink. She has been a constant leader in affordable housing and advocate of sustainable projects, high quality standards, and cost reduction strategies, challenging all of us to do more and to do better. I am proud to announce that Heather Bunn, Vice President at the Raffin Company, has been awarded the 2021 HDC Board of Directors Award.
Hi. It's hard to believe it's been almost 20 years. As I look back, I see how HDC has influenced and shaped me. My friends would describe me as fiercely loyal, doggedly committed, and passionate. And I would say that with those traits, it would have been easy to become an obstinate, closed-minded, and relentless capitalist. In other words, your typical cartoon caricature of a general contractor. Instead, the people who make up HDC have taught me leadership, courage, selflessness, and flexibility. I never could have imagined sitting in a room on a weekly basis with my peers and my competitors, working openly, honestly towards creating housing solutions. It is an honor and a privilege to have been part of something bigger than myself, and I just want to thank all of you at HDC so much for letting me along for the ride.
Good afternoon. I'm MALLORY Van ABBEMA, HDC's Policy and Advocacy Manager, and I'm honored to present HDC's 2020 Municipal Champion Award to the City of Kirkland. Kirkland has consistently taken bold action to increase housing option for residents, and 2020 was no exception. Last year, Kirkland's council enacted sweeping changes to the city's zoning codes, allowing for a significant increase in missing middle housing types. Carriage houses, duplexes, and triplexes are now allowed on all single-family lots, legalizing housing forms which had been prohibited for generations. Yet, Kirkland did not stop there. In 2020, the city also advanced reforms to existing accessory dwelling unit and detached accessory dwelling unit regulations. These changes addressed barriers to development of these housing types by increasing the number of ADUs and DADUs which can be permitted on a single-family lot, reducing parking requirements when proximal to transit, eliminating owner occupancy mandates, and increasing allowable square footage of accessory units. Property owners in Kirkland now have greater flexibility to pursue siting more homes on their land, which means more options for families and individuals who may not be able to afford housing in this high-cost market. Kirkland's Planning Commission, city staff, council, and community have set the bar high for inclusive housing options. The city's actions are commendable and will positively impact the local affordable housing conditions. HDC applauds Kirkland for addressing restrictive zoning laws while simultaneously seeking to ensure that the city remains a highly desirable place to live, work, and play. Congratulations, Kirkland.
Thank you to the Housing Development Consortium of Seattle-King County for honoring the City of Kirkland with the 2020 Municipal Champion Award. We are proud of the actions Kirkland has taken to increase missing middle housing types across the city. Kirkland's missing middle amendments are about using market forces to get more affordable housing stock out into the community. They're one of the many tools the city uses to make housing more affordable, in addition to transit-oriented development, multifamily property tax exemptions, and inclusionary zoning, among others. Thank you for recognizing our community's interest and enthusiasm for more compact housing types and Kirkland's focus on housing choice and affordability. We are committed to continue this work, and the recently adopted city work program includes furthering attainable housing as one of our key action items. I would like to thank the Kirkland Association of Neighborhoods, Rose Hill and Bridle Trails neighborhood in particular, Microsoft, members of our Housing Strategy Task Force, our Planning Commission, my fellow council members and city staff, and the entire Kirkland community. And thank you again.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Santos Johnson, and I am the Community Development and Housing Manager of the City of Renton. It is my great privilege this year to announce the Carla Akugwe Awards. In honor of the vision and leadership of HDC founding director, Carla Akugwe, a special award is occasionally given to recipients for their exemplary contributions to the affordable housing movement and their clear commitment to bettering the lives of those struggling and the communities in which they live. For the first time this year, HDC has selected 2 individuals to receive the Carla Akigwe Award. Our first award recipient has had a 47-year public service career, including leadership positions with Seattle Mayor Greg Nichols, Seattle City Light, Seattle Mayor Norm Rice, and the City of Seattle Budget Office. However, most of us at HDC know him best for his Public Housing Authority leadership and his 16 years of work with the Seattle Housing Authority. Please join me in recognizing Andrew Lofton, SHA's Executive Director since 2012. Under his leadership, SHA's housing inventory has grown by more than 1,500 units to provide nearly 3,000 more children and adults with stable, safe housing and services to improve their lives. The redevelopment of Yesler Terrace is a wonderful example of Andrew's leadership and vision for affordable housing. SHA has transformed Washington State's first publicly subsidized housing development into a truly mixed income community. The revitalization encompasses health, safety, education, jobs, housing, arts, parks, and neighborhood amenities, all bringing greater opportunities to low-income residents. Andrew has collaborated with many others to influence policies, affect change, increase the availability of affordable housing, and implement affordable housing innovations and enhancements at the local, state, and national level. Andrew is an inspiration to his 550-plus staff at SHA and all those he works with in the local, state, and national affordable housing communities. Throughout his career, he has been a dedicated and articulate leader on race and social justice, working to ensure policies that promote equity. As he has often emphasized, our work is more than just providing housing. It is really about improving people's lives. Congratulations, Andrew. Thank you for improving the lives of so many others.
Good afternoon. Thank you to the Housing Development Consortium Board, Marty, and everyone at HDC for this great honor. I am humbled to be receiving an award that honors your founding executive director, Carla Akigwe. It is particularly gratifying to receive this award because early in our careers, Carla and I worked together, and I know the deep passion she has for affordable housing that led her to organize nonprofit affordable housing providers into HDC, to be a voice for those dedicated to providing housing that is affordable for all. I am deeply moved that you have bestowed this honor on me because I know you know how hard this work is. As evidenced by your 170 plus member organizations, you know this work cannot be done alone. Any achievements attributable to me cannot be viewed as singular, but were only possible because of the great partnerships and support for which I was the beneficiary. This award would not be possible without a host of partners working together to create safe, stable, affordable housing. And in fact, is a tribute to the hundreds of caring, committed partners, the 600 remarkable staff members at SHA, a dedicated board of commissioners, and our many, many supporters. At the Seattle Housing Authority, we know firsthand that housing is essential to helping people with low incomes improve their lives. The stability of a home they can afford is a critical starting point for people to pursue a better life and greater self-sufficiency. We work to provide housing, and we work to provide communities where people don't just live, but grow, where seniors feel safe, where youth can pursue dreams of a bright future, where families can thrive. It is on behalf of an entire community of tenants, partners, staff, board, and supporters that I accept this award with great appreciation. Thank you, HDC, and thanks to all of you who care about affordable housing and dignity and opportunity for everyone.
Our second Carla Akigwe Award recipient started his social justice and affordable housing work as a VISTA volunteer in Seattle 44 years ago. He joined the Gleason and Associates architecture firm in 1986, where he honed his commitment to affordable housing and community engagement. In 1997, he came to the nonprofit architecture firm and community design center, Environmental Works, when Gleason and Associates merged with the organization. Please join me in recognizing Roger Tucker, Environmental Works Executive Director from 2010 to 2020 and current Senior Architect. Roger's community engagement and architecture work are grounded in his beliefs that housing is a basic human right and that building housing builds community. Since he joined Environmental Works, he has served as the lead architect on 58 affordable housing projects in Washington, dozens of those in King County. These projects have created 1,260 new housing units and renovated hundreds more. They run the gamut from senior housing and transit-oriented developments to family workforce housing, tribal housing, and permanent supportive housing. Roger is most proud of projects that involve broad and deep community outreach and engagement, which he believes ensures designs best suited to the needs, preferences, and cultures of the people to be served. Examples of projects that involve substantial community engagement are the Unity Village in White Center, KWA Senior Center in Federal Way, and Ethiopian Village in Seattle. Clients, colleagues, and community members also value Roger's capacity to bring everyone to the table for collaborative problem solving, and his ability to provide careful guidance and deep expertise. Congratulations, Roger. Thank you for raising the bar for sustainable, beautiful, functional, cost-effective, affordable housing.
Thank you. I am humbled and honored to be given this award, and I'm happy to accept it, not for myself, but for the team here at Environmental Works. As an organization that values partnerships, community design, we've been really honored to be part of the great work that this housing community is doing to fill the gap in affordable housing in Washington State. So thank you. Thank you so much. This really means a lot. And on a personal level, it means a lot to me because in the early days of Environmental Works, Carla Okigwe was actually a very active board member. And to me personally, she was always an inspiration and just a very kind-hearted supporter. Always had nice things to say when we would meet. So thank you for this honor. Thank you for all the great work that you're doing through HDC and the housing community.
Andrew and Roger, congratulations on receiving the Carla Okigwe Award. Thank you for your years of dedicated service and leadership to the affordable housing movement and your outstanding commitment to bettering our community and the lives of others. Thank you also for mentoring and supporting the professional development of others to follow in your footsteps. We hope you both enjoy your well-deserved retirement.
Congratulations to all of our honorees. I don't know about you all at home, but I was clapping and wooing and, dare I say it, raising the virtual roof all through this award presentations. So congrats again, and thank you for all the work you do, truly. Our next storyteller, Dennis Bateman, works for Catholic Community Services and is in every way possible one of our community's essential frontline workers. He is also a generous and enthusiastic voice for the affordable housing sector. Dennis is known for his tireless advocacy and for the deeply rooted compassion, wisdom, and humility that are so obvious in every word of it. Countless audiences, from faith communities to US senators, have benefited from his lived experience and the perspective that it gives him. Dennis once told us that his toolbox isn't full of all kinds of different ways to fix things. Instead, he talks about understanding and caring. And in his journey, we're all reminded that the healing power of those two words, understanding and caring. It's my privilege to introduce Dennis to you now.
Hello, my name is Dennis Bateman. I want to thank you for inviting me to speak. We had planned to do this presentation last year, but as we all know, the pandemic hit our world and it changed things. I work as the advocate supervisor at the Inn Shelter in Seattle. The Inn is a Catholic Community Services low barrier harm reduction 24/7 enhanced shelter. We serve Seattle's most vulnerable population. population that has been labeled by society as criminals, drug addicts, homeless, and worthless. These are human beings. Someone's sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, mothers, and fathers. Individuals enter our program with their partners, pets, and possessions. Our job as front desk advocates are to provide quality direct service, 100% focused on our guests, as our team works to place people into permanent housing. The advocates I supervise are trained in de-escalation, nonviolent intervention, and understand the meaning of trauma-informed care. We treat our guests with kindness, compassion, respect, and dignity. It is very challenging working with our program participants. Experiencing the pain from the trauma in their lives can be exhausting. It takes a lot of self-care on our part. It is hard some days to go into work. Taking a mental day for ourselves is a common practice. Sometimes it takes a coworker or a supervisor to recognize the need for a day off. I would like to share a little bit about my life, just an outline. If I went into detail, I would need a publisher. I was born in 1953 in Detroit, Michigan, and was abandoned by my mother at the age of 6 and placed into the Washington State foster care system. I will never forget that day standing on the curb waiting to get into the state car. I looked over at my mother and remembered her saying she would come and get me. If I had known that was going to be the last time I would see her, I would have given her a big hug and told her that I loved her. I spent the next 8 years in the foster care system being physically, emotionally, and sexually abused until I ran away at the age of 14 and began my life on the streets. A lifetime of drug addiction to numb the pain and psychological trauma of my childhood. My friends on the streets and myself were constantly struggling to survive. Many overdosed or died from life on the streets or ended up in the prison system. I woke up one morning to find my wife Joyce had died next to me in bed during the night from an overdose. I got that dreaded knock on my door by the police who were there to tell me that my 21-year-old daughter Nicole had died. My 20-year-old nephew Dale Patrick and my brother David also died from life on the streets. For some reason, I stayed alive. 8 years ago, after being released from prison for the 5th time, I was 59 years old and standing on the corner in Kent, Washington. I thought to myself, well, Dennis, you are definitely a survivor. You've had a very hard and challenging life, but you survived. A lot of people you knew and loved did not. A deep sadness swept over me. I thought, what a wasted life. I had nothing but the clothes on my back when they were given to me. A survivor never gives up. You have to keep going no matter what you are facing. But I reached a point in my life where I finally gave up. I could not do this any longer. I was beat down and exhausted from struggling to survive. I thought, what am I going to do now? My thoughts turned to God for help. I used to ask God for help in the past, but I always ended up in jail, so I quit asking. But this time was different. I actually surrendered. I said out loud, all right, God, let's try this your way. I give you what is left of my life to do with as you please. I reported to my DLC officer, which I had never done before. He referred me to a Catholic Community Services shelter in Kent. After a year in the shelter, I moved into my apartment at Patrick Place, a low barrier harm reduction permanent housing with wraparound services. This means there are mental health therapists and substance usage disorder counselors whose offices are in the building. Over a period of a few years and some difficult therapy, I was able to drop my heroin and meth use and now have 4 years and 9 months clean and sober. Today, I work full-time for Catholic Community Services. I also advocate on the city, state, and federal levels on issues of homelessness and social injustice whenever I get the opportunity. I'm also on the board of the Fremont Neighborhood Council. Applying for and being awarded a Small Sparks grant from the city of Seattle, I've organized the Fremont Neighborhood Cleanup, which is held at Patrick Place Apartments. Bringing the Fremont neighborhood residents into our building and showing the community that we, 75 formerly homeless and shunned by society people, can be an asset to their community. We have organized and held 3 cleanups at Patrick Place. I'm also a member of the St. Ignatius Spirituality Retreat team that works with people experiencing homelessness and recovering addicts. We encourage spiritual growth along with recovery. Once in a while, someone will ask me, why do you do that kind of work and put yourself in such a stressful workplace? I tell them I know people can change and really just want to be happy, to be warm and safe and find some meaning in their lives. Here's an example. I ran into someone on the streets that used to be a guest at one of the programs I work at. We had placed him into permanent housing that has the wraparound services I just described, the very same type of services I utilized. When he was in our program, he was addicted to heroin and would do various criminal acts to support his habit. He walked up and we started talking. He looked great and I could see there was happiness in his eyes. He told me he has 4 months clean and sober and doesn't do what he used to do to support his habit. My eyes started to water. I was so overwhelmed with joy for him. So if you ask me why I do what I do, I would have to say that that'd be the reason I show up to work every day, the reason I put myself in such a stressful workplace, the reason I turned my life over to God, and the reason my life finally has meaning. We are helping people rewrite their stories. Some days I think, are we at CCS making a difference? The numbers of homelessness keep growing. And where are all of the other agencies helping with this battle? The battle against homelessness, drug addiction, racism, and human suffering. I found out we are all members of a larger movement, the HDC movement. Because of this movement, I am who I am today. I am HDC. Thank you so much, and God bless all of you and yours.
Thank you, Dennis. There is no doubt that you are HDC, and the HDC movement and this community overall are grateful for who you are and what you do. We couldn't go without hearing from our next presenters, who truly symbolize what it is for all members of the community, no matter how unexpected the partnerships, to come together under one roof in order to accomplish a joint mission. Please welcome Amy Liu and Pearl Lung. Both are stalwartly committed to the development of equitable and affordable housing. And if you happen to go to YouTube to watch this stream, you'll want to head back to the Give Butter page now. That link again is givebutter.com/HDC. Take it away, Amy and Pearl.
Hi, I'm Pearl Lung with Amazon.
And I'm Amy Liu with Microsoft. Nope, your eyes are not deceiving you. Microsoft and Amazon are actually in the same room, vaccinated, sharing the stage, and apparently twinning.
and linking arms. Wait, is that a flying pig up there? Well, we hope we got your attention now, because what we have to say is crucial to why we are all here.
So what brings us together today? HDC. It's the bridge to our shared value and priority to preserve and build more affordable housing in Puget Sound.
While both our companies have made significant commitments toward affordable housing in the region, together we've been part of the East Side Housing Roundtable, working with HDC and over 20 organizations doing what HDC does best: build a coalition of coalitions, of movement for more affordable housing on the East Side.
Thanks to HDC's presence, the affordable housing sector has the collective weight of all of its members behind it to become a movement. We have this shared vision, and someone needs to be the galvanizing force day in and day out, regardless of political tides, harmful narratives, and all the forces that make our journey towards an affordable, inclusive, accessible King County a steep one. The need is great, and so is our goal. We would like to raise over $250,000 today.
This brings us all together. They keep with. Today is about centering our compassion, combining our empathy, and pushing forward on the steep journey towards justice. And there are two simple ways to donate. Click on the donate button on your screen, or text HDC to 202-858-1233. That goal is within reach if we can step back from the day-to-day battles that can feel exhausting in the light of systemic oppression at play here, and step forward with a climate of systemic empathy. I ask you to think of all the moving pieces at play here, advocating to advance vital policies, brokering cross-sector relationships to create a big picture lens, and convening all of us to make sure we have a voice and are hearing each other.
If you haven't given already, now is the time. It isn't important how you do it, as long as you just do it. Donate now at the amount you feel most inspired to. Show your support of this movement with your investment in HDC. And I use the term investment intentionally. When you invest in HDC, you invest in our community, and you invest in making the world a kinder, more humane, and more compassionate place where everyone is entitled to a roof over their head. I encourage you to stretch as far as you can. Your support today will make it possible to have HDC continue their work. And so thank you, because I, like many of you, have greatly benefited from working in community with HDC. I've been in the room and seen when HDC has dug deep and done the work to keep things moving forward, stretching their small, committed, amazing team to reach incredible heights. I'm asking you all to dig deep and stretch your donations today to help raise HDC's efforts up.
Every dollar pledged or donated today goes directly to HDC programs and advocacy work. And equally exciting, a committed group of all current board members and staff and former board members have pooled their resources to create a pool fund of $23,000. That means every donation of $250 and above will be matched. So your generous gifts will be doubled today. Thank you so much to everyone who contributed to the fund and to everyone in the room today who is considering stretching your donation to be part of this challenge.
We all know the critical role of the Housing Development Consortium in our cities across the county. This is about equal access to housing for people in poverty, and every dollar donated is an act of support in the fight for affordable housing for all. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you. We'll see you in person next year under the big roof that is HDC.
Until then, please take care of each other.
About your direct experience working with HDC, but for your leadership on this critical issue. It means a lot to me personally as a board member and HDC supporter to hear your validation. Now, we're about to hear some closing remarks from HDC's Executive Director, Marty Koistra. But as we switch to that, please do click on that donate button and make your final donation to HDC. Let me just say, as a former staff person and current board member, I know every single dollar will be used wisely. Once Marty concludes, I'll come back and let you know our final outcome. So now, please, Marty, help us wrap this up.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you to all who participated in this year's celebration and to all who worked to make it possible. We hope everyone who joined us today is experiencing two things that have made HDC's annual celebration so popular and so different for more than a decade. First, we hope you experience the delight of reconnecting with colleagues from every part of that very big HDC tent. And second, we hope you are inspired by coming together for the purpose of celebration, in particular, celebration of the compassion, wisdom, tenacity, and sense of calling that define this movement. This is the work we have chosen to do. The words compassion, wisdom, tenacity, and calling define our featured speakers, VANESSA and Dennis, and to each of our award winners. But they also apply to every one of you, and that's why their stories and their work move us so deeply. Dennis and VANESSA held up their stories as mirrors so that each of us could reconnect with what brought us to this work. What about this work breaks our hearts and offers us joy, and what we find in this work that sustains us? In both of their journeys and in the work of our award winners, there is a clear message. We're all in this together. Justice denied to some people, equity withheld from some communities, and opportunity denied to some families affects all people, all communities, and all families. This past year, in the face of so many profound challenges and worries, HDC members kept going even harder. Because each person in this movement we call HDC believes that now more than ever, every person, every community, and every family in King County must have access to safe, healthy, and affordable homes in communities of opportunity. This is the work we have chosen to do. If we were together in that big cavernous auditorium, I would call for everyone to give themselves a boisterous round of applause for making that choice. And then I would ask you to give a standing ovation for the staff and volunteers under our roof who work on the front lines, the ones taking on the toughest work and refusing to be overwhelmed by so many overwhelming things. Things like a shortage of help, the anxieties and complications of the pandemic, the intensity and the needs of those they support, and the lack of appreciation we as society give them. This is the work they have chosen to do. Words are inadequate to thank them for their commitment and their resilience.
But what we shouldn't have to thank them for, not on a daily basis anyway, is heroism. We must respond in ways that honor their work and what they can teach us about change. So in recognition of the opportunities and challenges of our time, HDC has chosen 4 values to define our strategic focus for the next 4 years: equity, community, collective strength, and sustained impact. These pillars summon us to an entirely new level. We must build and preserve housing at an unprecedented rate. We must ensure that access to that housing is attainable to everyone who has been marginalized, subjugated, or discriminated against. We must continue to diversify the leadership of our organizations. We must ensure that resources flow to community-based organizations best positioned to restore and create community. We must work hard and across sectors to ensure that behavioral and mental health needs are finally prioritized and properly resourced. And we must honor our frontline staff in a whole new way. This is the work we have chosen to do. Years ago, my closing line at this event was, "Take the flowers, but leave the vases." Today I say, take with you all that is bright, heartwarming, and real about HDC, your HDC, and leave behind the empty container holding everything that takes away your hope and joy. And thank you for being HDC.
Thank you, Marty. Now, let's take a look at our fundraising total. Drum roll, please. Our grand total for this afternoon is over $260,000. We did it. We met our goal. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for showing up day in and day out to make sure all people in King County have healthy, sustainable, affordable homes. Have a great afternoon, everyone, and thank you again for your investment and your work in this community. Take care. We hope to see you under this one roof next year in person.